in recent releases, we have added a new feature, which is you can actually see distributed traces, and you can actually export it to an observability tool of your choice. And I mean, if we don't know what traces means here, basically traces is a mechanism which allows us to look into what's happening inside a GraphQL request, API request, and not just GraphQL API request, other Hasura API request. And if you're running a mission critical application or at scale, you would like to have that independence of doing debugging if there's a performance issue. And this actually gives you the view inside what Hasura is doing without reaching out to Hasura, right? And do a lot more things by yourself. This is an E feature. You can do you can apply for a 30-day trial and try it out. Just give you a list of things, just a small list of things that you can actually look into, like, okay, how much time it's being spent in your API execution on database queries, on remote schema queries, and a lot many other things that you see here. That was about traces, but okay, how do I look into the traces? You can actually export traces from your Hasura Docker container directly using some configuration, and you should be able to export it to your observability tool, which can be open source like Jaeger or more enterprisey like Datadog, for example. And it just shows here is that OpenTelemetry has a larger adoption base as well. So if your tool does not support OpenTelemetry protocol based ingestion, this is something called OpenTelemetry collector, which is available out there. You can see in the documentation as well. This actually has support of almost all the proprietary and open source tools out there. So you should probably be covered there. Let's quickly go to the demo in the interest of time. This is my latest Hasura Docker container running. What I've done here is I've gone into settings, and there's a new feature, the new setting out there on the left, which is OpenTelemetry Exporter. This is already set, and this actually points to Jaeger, which is an open source distributed tracing tool, which I'm running as a separate Docker container locally. So this points to basically a local deployment at 4318, which is standard port used for OpenTelemetry protocol. Rest of the things are pretty standard. And then when I enable this, every API call that Hasura is serving will send out details about those API call requests to this tool, and we can see that in action. What I'm going to do is I'm going to make some 3 different API calls, and we kind of view the details of that in my observability tool. This is an API call. This is a basically query where I'm querying a table locally on Postgres, but also joining on a remote schema, which is cloud user defined. I make this query. It's going to take some time because of the remote schema. Okay, this is done. Also, what I'm going to do is I'll probably add a cache directive. I want to do a variation of it with caching on, right? So, all right, this query went through. I'll just do it again just to have a cache hit as well, right? So I've done a couple of queries, and what I can do is I can actually go to my UI for my tool, which is Jaeger, and this actually, I can actually search for recent traces here, right? And this is like a few seconds ago, so it's real time. My traces are getting exported to this tool. And right, so if I go into the details of this particular trace detail, this essentially gives you detail of one API request, what's happening inside it. And essentially we're spending time in making a Postgres call, which is around 7.52 milliseconds, if you're able to see this. Also, we're spending a huge amount of time on remote schema, which is expected. So you can see the details here. I'll just quickly go back, see another trace here. It is, I think, much more query sections to the traces, right? Or we call spans. So there's a span for cache check because I've enabled cache directive. So I'll spend some time checking the cache. I've also spent some time in updating the cache post the query here. So you can see those details as well. And this is one last query where actually the cache hit may have happened. This was pretty fast. And actually, if you see here in these details, there's no Postgres call made, there's no remote schema call made because we actually pulled this information from your Redis cache. Right. So yeah, you can whenever you're having a performance issue, you're not sure where the issue is. Is it on your auth webhook? Is it on your action? If you export your traces, you can actually do a much better debugging here.